Kim, I'm really glad we could get together today because I got a lot of stuff on my plate.
Oh, could you tell me some more about that?
Yeah, and a lot's been going on with my parents. Dad is currently in a nursing home in rehab,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to make some decisions. He's been diagnosed with vascular dementia, which they also consider Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's there. He doesn't understand why he's there because physically he's getting better. He's
Mm-hmm.
able to walk now, and during the days he does really well. And from from a certain perspective, he does really well. His time frame is not accurate. He's not really present day, but so that's going on. And then of course my mom is living at home.
Mm-hmm.
She's 88. He's 90, soon to be 91. So that's a lot. She's home by herself. I do have my sister here, but she just got married, so you kind of want to have her be able to enjoy being newly married.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, a lot of decisions to be made because the rehab facility told us that he's going to need 24-hour care,
Mm-hmm.
and that definition doesn't mean 24 hours at home with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
It means added care. So from what I've heard, it's really hard to try to do that at home care stuff. They advertise it like crazy, but you don't necessarily get people that come all the time. You can't necessarily get people you trust. Um, and the nighttime is the toughest because he seems to be this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. During the day, he's pleasant. He does his physical therapies. He has conversations with us. He likes to tell stories. Um, but he can't really have a conversation because he's pretty much deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Has hearing aids, but still pretty much deaf. Which that's one of the things that surprised me. Being in a rehab facility, having that information out there, those people don't know how to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would be better trained with hearing impaired because most elderly are hearing impaired, I think. And they're not. Either that or they're so busy, they're so short staffed that it doesn't come into their minds. Like
Mm-hmm.
his hearing aid batteries don't get changed unless we change them, even though we've told people. So we pretty much try to go every day,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that adds to the stress of everybody, not just me, to my sister, to my mom. It's very exhausting to my mom
Mm-hmm.
because going every day is a lot when you're 88 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how you fix that. I don't think you fix it.
So it sounds that you're really struggling with making some decisions on the care of your father,
Mm-hmm.
and also struggling with the stress of taking care of your mom and transporting her to see your father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she can still drive,
Mm-hmm.
and actually we've kind of spied on her, and she does very well driving. She can totally get to the rehab center. That's not a problem. Her short-term memory is starting to go. She, asks you the same question twice in 20 minutes type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Um, Although she's constructed some strategies, she maintains a calendar. She starts every day with a list,
Mm-hmm.
and the list is on the kitchen table, and she writes down these are the things she has to do every day. And she goes to that list religiously. So she's got some things, but when you have conversations with her, you know that the short-term memory is really having a hard time. Um, we're lucky because my youngest sister's house is pretty much in my mother and father's backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So she's available to my parents, which is great. But like I said, she just got newly married. She has 2 teenage daughters who are very active. So she's got them to take care of. So it's a lot for her. That's why I think I pick up most of it. But on the flip side, I know I'm dropping the ball at my house.
Yeah, so you really feel like you're putting a lot of time and effort into your parents' care,
Yeah.
but you're also stressed about your home and self-care as well.
Right. Right.
So what do you think we could do differently maybe to help focus more on self-care?
Well, I think the nursing facility, when we had a team meeting, they told my mother, my sister, and myself all about how he was doing. This was like 2 weeks ago. All about how he was doing. And at that point, we asked, do we need to visit every day?
Mm-hmm.
And I was primarily asking that question, hoping they would pick up on it that for my mother's sake,
Mm-hmm.
she should take every other day off to rest up,
Mm-hmm.
be at home. take care of herself. And on the flip side, when we do that, it helps us
Mhm.
because we don't go. If they tell us to take the day off, you know, or not come one day, we do that. So we've been doing that. The tricky thing is she forgets what day she went. Like, did I go yesterday? I don't know if I went yesterday. So that's kind of tricky. And I think hopefully once we get him into a memory care Alzheimer's facility, which we're trying to do now, that will help because it will be closer to her house. Right now it takes her a good half hour to get to the nursing facility. The one that we're crossing our fingers for is about 10 minutes from her house, and it's all on good roads. So even if he's there through the winter, she'll still be able to drive there. But I've heard that the memory care facility tells families they can't visit for a whole week. They want the patient to become acclimated. I think he's going to have a really hard time with that. He's been married to my mother for 63 years, and they haven't ever been separated, except for things like this. If somebody went in for surgery, she had a hip replacement, knee replacement, stuff like that. But even then, you're visiting every day. So this time, we're probably going on 4 weeks now at the rehab center. This is a whole new. He's not that strong. Well, that's not a good word. He's not really comfortable. He gets very paranoid. He's not very comfortable when she's not there.
Okay.
Because he's used to being with her every day for 63 years. So she can handle it a little bit better because when he was working, he was gone all the time, but he always came home to her. So she's used to being home alone or with 4 girls. She took care of 4 girls. So she's a little more independent than he is, and can handle being home. They have a dog. She likes being with the dog. But I just think maybe once we get into the memory care facility, we'll be able to, they'll help us and they'll say, you know, come for dinner, but he really needs to become part of the population here. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, so right now you're really unsure what the transition is going to be like into a different rehab facility?
Right, a memory care facility, yeah. And the one where, it's funny, like the one we're looking at is really about 2 years old, really wonderful place from our visits and our inquiries. But it's like trying to get a kid into college. You're like really trying to make sure they are in the right place, make sure you have the finances because you have to pay. This is all out of pocket. And make sure they accept you, which makes sense because they're a memory care facility. They're not skilled nursing. So he has to be physically strong enough and ready enough to go into this facility. So, I mean, you know, right now we're crossing our fingers, lighting candles, whatever you want to say, to make sure he gets in there. They're going to meet with him and us and the faculty or the staff at the nursing home tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully tomorrow afternoon we'll know. I mean, they have one spot and they're holding it till they meet him. And then, like I said, there goes 7 days. Now, my husband and I are supposed to go on a trip, 2-week trip, so it will help if for the 7 days nobody's allowed to visit. My sister will be here, but for my mom. But so I won't feel like I'm supposed to be there because I can't be there. So we'll see how that goes.
So right now there's kind of a lot of pressure on whether it's your responsibility to make sure he's in tip-top shape and putting out the best characteristics he has to get into the facility, but you're also stressed about the possibility that he won't be set in a facility when you go on your vacation.
Yes. Yeah. For, you know, in the back of our minds, if he doesn't meet the specifics of this facility, we have toured a couple others, but one, my mother said absolutely not. She just didn't get good vibes. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but personally she didn't like it, so that's important. So we have 2 others that we could take a look at that are within her driving radius. So we would quickly have to do those visits, although the current nursing facility hasn't given us a discharge date. And that's kind of the kicker because they won't tell anybody they have to leave, but currently he has a copay that's paying for these rooms. He has very good insurance he pays for.